We got another week. Isn't it great? Another week of potting. I mean, we'll be potting anyway, but it's like relative. It's like it's valuable potting though. You know what I mean? But anyway, you're listening to the All Burgundy and Go. Listen to All Burgundy and Go Everything powered by the Urban Sports and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wole and I'm joined by my guys, George and Glenn. The homie Mo will be joining us shortly. What's going on, fellas?
Hey man, nothing much, man, dog. It's still playoff weekend for us. It's still
Yeah.
playoff week, and we got a lot to talk about, man. Like I told somebody, it's been a long time since on January 16th, 2 weeks after the season's over, we're still talking of Commanders football, and they're still playing.
Yeah.
Some people have not seen this in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm. This is true, man. What's going? I agree with that. What's up, George? What's about you, bro?
Well, at least we're not waiting all day till Sunday night. We'll be waiting all day till Saturday night.
I know, right?
Saturday Night
And
Live,
I'll tell you
baby.
something. For a franchise that's been as humbled and low as the Lions have been, their fans are sure kind of mouthy, aren't they? You notice that on the social media? Because I have.
I mean, I think because we're in the situation now, because we're the team that's in it. You know what I mean? I feel like we see it more now. We get to see it, but I've been in certain spaces. They've been pretty confident this whole year. That fan base has been pretty confident this whole year.
Well,
Yeah,
you be
but they're
confident-
acting
you
like,
be
oh,
confident too, though.
Jaden doesn't know what's coming for him in Detroit. I'm like,
That you got to touch the fire first to know what time it is.
Hey,
Tampa's
Aiden
going
Hutchinson's
that way,
not
too.
playing, so that's all that matters, right? Yeah, your best dude ain't playing,
yes.
right? But here,
But we'll
this
get
is
to
the
all.
thing.
Yeah,
But
go
this
ahead,
is the
go ahead.
thing. This is the thing they talk about, and this is the thing that they want to deal with. When you have a fan base where your offensive coordinator came back, didn't want to be a head coach, whatever reason, that's a whole different podcast why he's not a head coach. Aaron Glen, your defensive coordinator, came back. He's not ready. Well, I can say he's not ready. He's not a head coach yet. And majority of your team came back together. And then you went on a run like they went on. They're excited, but we know if Detroit's going to be Detroit, Detroit's always going to be Detroit.
Yeah.
In certain cities, and I'm not. In certain cities, are going to be certain cities, right? Cleveland's going to be Cleveland, and Detroit is going to be Detroit. Is what it is. Can we be honest? Detroit will be Detroit.
Like y'all were 2-15 in Dan Campbell's first year. Just calm down a little bit.
Calm down and let the game and let them play. Just let the kids play, right?
Yeah, just let them play, man. We just let them play. But yeah,
and we all know, Jared Goff can be Jared Goff.
Well, we'll discuss all of that. Like we'll
talk about all that
on
pregame.
I mean,
You're doing us on a pregame.
I'm about a few more yap, and I'm going to start posting Darryl Green's interception in the 91 thing if it's on YouTube at them and nonstop.
But yeah, before we get into the topic today, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. If you're on here, if you're viewing us on any other platforms, jump to our YouTube channel. Hit us with a subscription. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also, like this video if you're on the channel watching right now. Just click that like button as well. And if you're feeling generous, you're feeling good, you're feeling like you got some coins to put out there, hit us up with a super chat on YouTube, and I guarantee your comments will be highlighted and prioritized in the chat. We are also streaming live on the Urban Sports Scene X account as well. All right, it's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We're going to debate whether Dyami Brown is the number 2 wide receiver for the Commanders after a great performance on last Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got the homie Mo on. What's going on, Mo?
Man, I've been sitting here enjoying y'all talk, man. Hey, I can feel the excitement in y'all, the reflection of y'all voices, man. So, well, ladies, what we're gonna do after you tell everybody what's on tap. I'm gonna play MC. I'm gonna let you be a fan for the night. I want to hear these takes, cause George, I had something for you last week on the pregame show. You were trying to be modest. Oh, if we get next week. Oh, you've been bashful all year, buddy.
Well, me or George?
Stay bashful, George.
Oh, George or me?
Yeah, stay bashful, because if I had a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, you couldn't get me to shut up. I'll tell you that. I put it in the Instagram. I put it in the Instagram
I
comments.
saw it. I read it. I thought you was talking about me though.
No, I was talking about George.
Oh, okay. I thought you was talking about me.
He was talking to Candy like, I don't know if we're going to see each other next week. And
oh,
you know,
yeah, he was. Yeah.
Let's hope we get another week of a commander. No. Talk that talk now. This is the time.
No, definitely.
This is the time. So it's been exciting, man, to be in the area, George. I wish you were here to
part of that was respect for Tampa and respect for them.
Because
and I have some respect for Detroit, but their fans are starting to get on my last nerve a little bit.
Hey, man, I wish you was here to feel the thing that you're talking about, the Detroit fans. The fans back at home right now. The fans here. Oh, they are incredulous right now. Incredulous.
That's why it goes both ways. That's why I try to stay out of it.
Ways.
That's why I try to stay out of it. Even if you watch it on social media, it's like both ways. Like kind of like so. I kind of like trying to stay out of it.
I've been excited to get into this topic though, Wole, man. So let me go ahead. Let me.
You want to start off? Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead. I'll let you go ahead. Go introduce the question.
Let Mo cook.
So you talked about us debating whether Dyami Brown is emerging as the number 2 wide receiver for the Commanders, man. After going for 5 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown on Sunday night versus Tampa, folks are getting high on Dyami Brown. Do you feel that he is now likely the number 2 best receiver on this team?
For me, I'm gonna say yes, but I've been consistent with that. Like I felt like what he brings to the table is he has more to his bag in terms of this offense than most of these receivers that we have on the team. Even Noah Brown that was there, I said that before, even before the injury. I just think now folks are getting to see the opportunity. Folks are getting to see him being utilized in various different ways. You know what I mean? Because it's like people have a bad feeling of Dyami because they've seen him used one way with the other coaching staff, and that truth be told, that's not fair to him. That's more on coaching and how they utilize them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now he's in an opportunity where he's playing. He's doing more than a 9 route. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to see him doing in routes, out routes. You know what I'm saying? Like getting to use him in the screen game a lot more. Just to see him, and you're seeing his versatility in that situation where he runs hard, he breaks tackles. Now you look at him totally different. You don't look at Dyami as just a guy that just catches the ball here and there. Now you look at him as a physical wide receiver, a guy that if he gets the ball in the screen game, he can truck you. Like he's got that capability, right? He's a physical runner with a football in his hand. So I think that just the totality of what he brings to the table is now people are starting to see what I've been talking about. Like I've said this before. Like I just felt like one, quarterback play was a hindrance. Secondly, this kid wasn't able to showcase what he can do. And Mo, you see, we talked about him when he was in North Carolina. We thought he could do a lot more than what we seen. So I just think now that with Cliff Kingsbury at the helm, you're getting to see Dyami being utilized a lot more, and it kind of shows you why. You know, even though I won't even lie to you, I like Jahan Dotson, but you see why right now. Like they felt like, you know what, we got Dyami, we got Olamide, but Dyami's a guy that we kind of like, and that's it. And then even I saw it in camp. And you saw it in preseason games with him and Jayton on certain plays and scrimmages where they had good rapport. So, like going back to it, I think Dyami's the second best receiver on the roster.
So, Glenn, I'm gonna kick it to you, but I want to nuance the question, right? Mm-hmm. Are we saying second best talented, second best, or he's going to be the wide receiver too?
He's definitely second best wide receiver on the team now. Okay. Talent-wise, best, and in the future, I feel like that's all going to be predicated on how things go on from here on.
Glenn, what you got for us?
I'm gonna preface this with I am not a Dyami hater. Okay. Has he gotten better? Yes. Has he stepped up? Yes. But every week is another different receiver in Washington that steps up. Every week. So right now everybody's just drinking Dyami Kool-Aid because last week was Dyami. Week before that, it was Zacchaeus. Week before that, it was Jamison Crowder. Right? So with this team, it has been multiple guys each and every week. So we could have had this conversation 2 weeks ago talking about is Amadeus Zacchaeus the number 2.
That's 2 weeks ago, actually. That's 2 weeks ago because he dropped that pass.
Right?
2 weeks ago.
Two weeks ago.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, we could have been having this conversation.
Yeah.
Right? So we on the Dyami train.
Forget that one.
I'm not going to let that. No, I'm not going to say
Dyami
like a week
train
ago.
Because Dyami is the guy now, right? So again, early in the year, we could have been on, is this the Noah Brown train, right? Is Noah Brown the number 2? So again, with this Washington team, they don't have a clear-cut number 2, right? They have multiple receivers each week who fills in the play that when Terry is not getting the football. Because if we say receivers, then some weeks it could be Zach Ertz, right? So again, is he the number 2 yet? No. Has he improved? Yes. Has he been able to do things under Jaden Daniels that we've seen that he wasn't able to do under the other multiple quarterbacks that he has had in the past? Definitely yes, right? So we see the improvement of Dyami. I need it to be more consistent before I can say he's the number 2. Don't give me a one-game wonder. Give me a consistency over a period of time before we can say, you know what? Yeah, because Dyami, we talk about drop ball. Dyami dropped a couple this year too, right? Dyami jumped up for one that he shouldn't have jumped up for. He dropped the one that he was in the end. So again, has he gotten better? Has this coaching staff started to believe in him more? Yes, right? Has he started to get more burn? Has he added things to his tool belt and he's not the one-trick pony where he can just blow the top off? Yes, he's gotten there. But for me to say that he's the clear-cut number 2 yet, I can't say that. It's been a different number 2 each and every week in this offense. So he's not there yet.
That's true. I mean, the rotation is fair. But I will say this, in terms of drop ball, Olamide has dropped hella footballs this year, way more than Dyami. Noah Brown dropped a rack of footballs. We just remember from the Hail Mary play. So to me, in terms of consistency, in terms of drop passes, I think the other receivers have dropped way more than Dyami. Dyami dropped the real glaring one Dyami dropped was the one in the end zone, but they scored anyway. That's the one that everybody remembers, and that's the one drill drop.
Y'all gonna stop this not giving Noah Brown credit. Noah Brown kept that boat afloat.
Noah Brown had a lot of drops though.
He made plays. He
made some plays. No, he made some big catches. He had a lot of drops too, though. He had a lot of drops though.
But he made big plays that
no, I'm not pissed on his big plays. Yeah,
he made that big play versus the Giants.
He on the sideline.
That led to the last field goal.
The sideline play, the one at the middle where he dove. The one
it was like a post, and then he took it across the field.
It was a post play.
Right, he's made the plays. The Hail Mary counts. He's been
that's a Jesus play, bro. Don't do that.
He's won some. He's made the play that has set up the score for the. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good insight from the two of you, Glenn.
Go to George. You want to go George? You want to go in next?
I'm sorry, George. George. Do you feel that Dyami Brown is now wide receiver 2 for this team?
I want to start by saying I think this show's been pretty consistent about wanting to see more Dyami Brown. I think go back to training camp. Wole, you were up there. You liked what you saw. We saw him make that great catch against the Jets from Jaden's first wow throw. Yeah. And I think we wanted to see more Dyami Brown. And I think my frustration is that this didn't happen sooner because it should have. Yeah. That said, for me, this week and hopefully next week, and if there's a game after that, he's a number 2 guy. Not for next year. It would take something extraordinary for me to go into next year saying I want him to be our number 2 wide receiver. But right now, I'm taking him because, as you guys have rightly said, he's got more tools in his toolbox now than he had before. And I think he's more dynamic than our other receivers except for Terry. So, for me, he's the number 2 receiver. Jaden's number 2 guy is Ertz behind Terry. I feel like it's Terry, Ertz, and then Dyami Brown.
Agreed.
But he's definitely our number 2 receiver this week, and hopefully if there's a next week. But that's a temporary thing. Because I'll say this for him.
Go ahead, buddy.
I was in the same boat. A couple of other people were saying, completely overhaul this wide receiver room, keep Terry, keep Luke, and forget the rest of them. I'm now in the camp of, maybe we do want to bring Dyami Brown back, but he's going to have competition for number 2 and number 3. Heavy competition, I hope.
Well, chances are he probably won't be the number 2 receiver going into – it's all predicated for him, if I'm him, it's all predicated what you do in this postseason run. You know what I mean? For real. It doesn't have to – it just has to – you have to be really good at it. You know what I mean? I'll give you an example. I'll go to a team –
he's coming back.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a dude up north in the Ravens and Rashad Bateman. They were saying they wanted a number 2. They were looking for a number 2, but he's played himself into a role where now he is the number 2. He put up 800 yards this season. So it's all, and he's had a good postseason. And they still, the Ravens still relatively trying to look for number 2, for Zay, or number 1. You make the argument they looking for number 1 too. Like they're kind of like greedy with that. But he put up 800 yards. He had a good first game in the playoffs. So it's all about how you do it on a stretch run, like how you do it in the stretch to make sure for you as an individual you can change their mind. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to make the argument and say like at this particular point in time now, they're still looking for a number 2 easily. They should be looking for a number 2. They ain't get a number 1A. I'll go for number 1A or B. I mean, if you told me T Higgins out, I'm going for T Higgins. That's just who I am as a period. You know what I mean? But it's up to Dyami as the individual. You have a good postseason run, then you're not. Now the discussion changes even more. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're doing with the bright lights, and you can see, and even to be real with you can see the change of Cliff Kingsbury utilizing Dyami Brown more. It's not even just real talk. It's 2 games in a row, to be real with you. If you watch the Cowboys game, he was featured in a drive period. Like now, they featured him in the whole series. So he's getting more burn in 2 weeks in a row with Cliff Kingsbury. So there's been, since he's come back from the hamstring, so there's been something in terms of them utilizing Dyami Brown even more. Don't know what it is. Maybe Cliff's like, you know what? It's the end of the season. I showed y'all a little bit. Now I'm in my bag. Y'all haven't seen what I'm about to show y'all. You know what I mean? Because what we're seeing the last 2 weeks, the Cowboys game and now going into this game against with the Tampa game, those 2 games in a row, Dyami hasn't been featured like that throughout the season. Like he's been featured, because even Cliff Collinsworth said that Dyami Brown's coming up. He's had some receptions in the last some games. I'm like, that's pretty much the Cowboys game, bro. You obviously haven't watched. He said he's emerged as a number 2. Like, bro, you really haven't been watching Commanders games for real. It's really just that Cowboys game. You're going off of. But
here it is.
Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead, Mo.
Are you considering that feature though? I think the Cowboys game was just a formality because Mariota played extensively. You wasn't going to risk Terry any longer.
Well, no, right? Terry was being utilized. They were still trying to go to. They went to Terry that whole last drive. I'm just talking about before that. Like they literally did a series where he was featured. Like, truth be told, you could put Luke McCaffrey. Like for if you want to use that argument, right? Because Dyami just come off a hamstring. It was just kind of weird. A dude just coming off a hamstring injury, and you're going at him nonstop. You know what I mean? And you can see that the momentum is kind of carried over to that Tampa game to a point where now. They were looking at matchups for Dyami. Like they were literally having plays set up looking for Dyami.
I'm with Glen on this one, man. Like I'm not sure. I think that that's the type of performance that anybody that was a Dyami supporter thought that he could put up. You know, like when we think of the type of player that he is, like as a compliment to Terry. So that being it being a big stage and him that being the first time he showed that off. I think that has a lot of people excited for the future and whatnot. But like, he is the second most talented receiver left in the room, right? Terry's one is him because he's more athletic. He's a better athlete than Luke. I mean, like he's bigger. I don't know if he's faster than Olamide, but like he's bigger. Like he's height, weight, speed kind of guy compared to him, right? And then like. When you look at how all that rounds out, he has the most, like George said earlier, he has the most tools in his own personal toolkit, though. Like the offense is helping for sure, like looking for him and whatnot, trying to put him around. But like he has a lot of skill set that wasn't being showed, as you guys said, by the pass regime. And why they couldn't figure that out is beyond most of us, because even if they played him the way they played him in college, he should have been successful because of the tools.
Yeah.
So I think he has to be wide receiver 2. I'm very leery on the idea, especially this week for whatever reason. But it should be a good opportunity for him to continue it going with the injuries that Detroit has in their secondary, right? And with the hyper focus that we know they're going to give Terry, he should be able to win his individual matchups and be a consistent figure in this game. So do I feel like he's the number 2 receiver? I don't think he's wide receiver 2, but I do think he's the one that's best equipped to do it going forward, right? So with that said, I guess we let's get into this week's action against Detroit. Is this sustainable by Dyami? Can he do something similar against the Detroit Lions in this divisional round on Saturday?
If Washington can, what Washington does and what they're doing, even with a Dyami Brown, and when I look at Dyami, I'm thinking, you know what? You know, this is where he's at now. It would have been a Curtis Samuel role if they could get the money right. Because when Washington does not run the football, these screens is their run game. This is how they get is the screen game is their run game when they can't run the football. That's one of the reasons that we saw a lot of Dyami as well, right? And so if the Washington Commanders run the football like they're supposed to, you don't see much of Dyami in this set at all, in my opinion. I think he had, again, and I like Dyami. I'm not talking bad about Dyami. It's just that what dictated and what happened the other night was a circumstance that Washington couldn't run the football. And so it had to use the screens to get it. He's the best screen guy, I think, on this team, right, to go get it. And he showed that the other night, that he was able to catch a screen, get 5 or 6 yards, and put Washington in good third or second down situations. With Detroit, I think
the man had 89 yards.
Yeah, and some of yards, I know his average yards per catch was crazy.
Yards.
His average yards per catch was crazy too. That's a good. But go ahead.
But yo, so hold on. But listen. He took those and he ran, but with the initial pass, there was not what you.
No, you forgot the one Jaden rolled out. See, that's what you're saying. The one Jaden rolled out. Damn, was open like 20 yards, and then he
one for
yards at the
yards.
catch. You got that.
Yeah, one for 20 yards because Jaden rolled out.
Jaden
rolled out, but the rest of the ones that he caught were short yard passes that he created after yards after the catch.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, and I'm not knocking his game. What I'm saying is that's where he's going to live at, and that's what he can do against Detroit. The question, and I'm gonna answer your question because I got another question later.
Cool.
But yes, can Dyami replicate what he did? Is it sustainable? Is it sustainable what he did against Detroit? Yes, it is. All right, it is. But if Washington's running game is moving, he's not getting all these balls. Because what they want to do is they want to control the clock and they want to keep Detroit's offense off the field. And so that is something that they want to do. So they want to be able to run the football this week and not necessarily throw as much. So if they get into a throwing game and it's close, yes, it's sustainable. To answer the question.
Go ahead, Glenn.
George.
I keep saying Glenn. George.
No, I know what you mean.
I
got you.
G's up, George. G's up.
It's got to be sustainable because I'm at the point now where until I see our running backs actually run the ball well, I just assume they're not going to. So, and look, they were able to control the clock and have long sustaining drives, mostly throwing the football last week. I know Tampa's a different animal than Detroit, and games up there tend to be a track meet. But I actually think that we're probably going to need something similar from Dyami if we're going to win this game Saturday night. I think we're going to need another performance like that. And I think I think your point about the wide receiver screens, Glenn, is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And again, that's, to me, it's hard to do because teams are going to cheat up, but with Dyami, they know they better watch it because one double move and he could be behind you 20 yards and you could be looking like an idiot. But they can dink and dunk their way down the field with this quarterback. I'm not sure that's what he wants to do or what they want to do, but I think they can do that. And the wide receiver screens are going to be part of that. But I think, again, that secondary isn't very good for Detroit. And I don't see a corner, especially if their best corner is going to take Terry, that should be able to hold Dyami Brown down. So for me, it certainly is sustainable this weekend. And I think it has to be.
Wole.
I mean, I think it's sustainable because because of where Detroit's passing defense is at. Like they're one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL. I believe like they're 29th or something like that. I think he put it out here too. Thank you, Dujanay. Yeah, they're 29th. So it's sustainable. I think anytime you got a number one like Terry, you're going to worry about Terry. So he's going to have opportunities to go 1-on-1. So I think it's definitely sustainable. If they just like of course they run the football well, somebody's stats are going to be hindered, right? Because you're running the ball, you win the time possession. That's the goal. So Glenn has a valid point. But like George says, if they're not running effectively, I think, yeah, it's capable. I'm not. Is it going to be 89 yards? I mean, I'm not going to say that, but it could be 50 yards and a touchdown. Because the last game you had Terry and Dyami had 89 yards. You know what I mean? So this offense isn't like Jaden isn't the quarterback right now, or we haven't seen where you can see two guys going over 100 yards receiving yards, right? That's not been a thing. Even your tight end, that's not a thing with Jaden right now. So because Jaden's going to either, Jaden, if he don't see, he's going to run it, and he's going to be effective doing it. So at this point in time, I don't see it being like him throwing for 330 or 400 or something like that. You're going to have that type of game. So I'm not saying Jaden's going to have that type of game, but is Dyami going to make splash play? Can he make splash plays? I expect him to make splash plays in this game, definitely, because I don't think Detroit's defense is, to be honest with you, good enough. And Jaden, to me, as he's gotten older in the season, gotten more experience in the season, has become a better passer and deciphering defenses. So I do think there's a reason why some of these receivers are starting to put up good numbers that we were like, dang, where have they been at? You know what I mean? It's because Jaden's gotten better as the year has gone on. So to answer your question, Mo, yeah, I think it's definitely capable. But Detroit's defense lends it that way, though, too.
And that was my point. That was going to be my answer. That was my main catalyst. Detroit's defense is porous in the pass game. Brian Branch, plays really well.
Mm-hmm. Safety, right?
Terry and Arnold just got hurt.
Yeah.
So that's not good for them. They were already thin back there. So the defense has given up 31, 48, 34, respectively, in the last 5 weeks.
There you go.
3 times in the last 5 weeks. So outside of Josh Allen, none of those quarterbacks are as dynamic as Jaden Daniels is.
There you go. Yeah.
Right? None of them. And the threat of his legs alone, I think, can force some issues. As you can see, he's been throwing a lot across the middle of the field, or in the middle of the field, because linebackers are drawing up towards him every time he attacks the line of scrimmage. He threw a beautiful dime to Ertz over the weekend.
Yeah.
Doing so, where like right over the top of Levante David's head, because he had to commit. Because he's a two-way go there. So his legs are going to put a lot of pressure on Detroit. And Dyami's just going to have to make sure he can get where he has to get. They're probably going to try to play a lot of zones. So he has to just sit in the zones and whatnot and make the most of his opportunities. And I think that he could replicate it because Detroit is so porous.
You think like 89 yards though? That's close to. I mean,
89 yards. 89 yards is a great game for him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you're 89 again. Like I ain't gonna hold you.
That's
like I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, it's a career high.
Well, not career high. He had more against Tennessee. He had like a game where he had like over 100 yards to Tennessee.
He had 100 yards.
Yeah, 2 bombs.
Okay, well, close to his.
I mean, the first like a couple.
The first one last year.
Yeah, huh? No, a couple years ago. When Carson Wentz was his quarterback, he had like 2 bombs that year.
Okay, he had 2 bombs in the end zone. Carson hit him in the end zone deep.
Yeah.
So again, that's the type of game he has. I mean, I don't think I agree with you guys. He don't need the 89 yards to be effective and efficient. I don't think as you guys mentioned, this is maybe a track meet game, right?
And that's why
both defenses are in the bottom. Both defenses are in the bottom half of, Washington's bottom half of the run defense, and then you had Detroit's in the bottom half of the pass defense. It may be what you say as we say. Maybe come down to, again, the last team that has the football again who wins the game.
And if Boogeyman Daniels has it, I'm not counting against him.
I know what time it is.
Boogeyman Daniels is what I call him now.
Not Boogeyman Daniels, though.
Can we also point out with Detroit, though, they have more of an excuse because they had a pretty decent defense at the beginning of the year, and they have just been decimated by injuries.
Yeah, they've been decimated by injuries. Right.
Yeah, that's the point. It's not about them being bad. It's about where they are today with the injuries.
Why they're bad.
Yeah,
it's the fact that they just are bad.
Hey, George, don't start that excuse crap right here, because you start that excuse stuff, and then what happens, everybody gonna use the same excuse. You play the game. They're all professionals. I don't care.
I know.
They're all professionals.
I mean, when you lose Hutchinson, man, you are different. You lose Hutchinson, you are different, though. I mean, that's
I mean, that's
and he has a backup for a reason.
Oh, ain't no Hutchinson. He wasn't the first one.
And Washington fans ought to be familiar. pretty intimately familiar with what Aiden Hutchinson can get up to.
Right. And I'm not trying to be a prick, but at this point in the playoffs, everybody's beat up. Everybody's banged
No, that's
up.
true.
So somebody hurt. Our guy came back, right? Jonathan Allen came back. Hutchinson couldn't come back. I heard he maybe come back later on in the playoffs if he get there, right?
True.
Philadelphia got to the Super Bowl 1 year without T.O., and T.O. was able to get hurt. So, again, everybody's beat up. And so I'm just saying for the fans in general, everybody has their own issues. If something happened, knock on wood, if something would have happened to Jaden Daniels and we had to go to Marcus Mariota, and if we lose the game, we can't say, oh, man, we'd have won if we had Jaden Daniels. You don't know. It's
yes, you can, because you've never seen them not do it in that situation. I'm saying.
Whoa. Hey, hold on. Hey, Marcus played well. Marcus played well in the 2 games he came in. So guess what? Everybody was scared. But when Marcus started performing, oh, dang, and Marcus we trust, people were saying. So it's what it is, right?
Ole even had to apologize to Marcus.
Right. So what I'm saying is just don't use that. People are trying to get built-in excuses. Their defense is what their defense is. Right? Our offense is what the offense is. And we all know our defense sucks when it comes to stopping the run.
Facts. Hey, Paul, question real quick. And Mo, I know you wanted to ask him, so I'm gonna go back to you, Mo.
No,
Paul said, don't be surprised if they take a deep shot to Dyami. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised either. I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, yeah, I read it wrong. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Paul. Hey, so Mo, what were you saying, Mo? You better ask me something.
We're talking about these deep shots. You just talked about. You just said that the team could throw the ball deep.
Oh, Paul said, yeah. I'm sorry, I remember.
Right, Paul
said, don't be surprised if they take a deep shot to Dyami the first series of the game.
Speaking of the ability to take a deep shot, what does Dyami bring to the table that the other wide receivers just do not on this Washington Commanders team?
I think that obviously. I mean, I'm gonna go off like what we seen in college. I mean, we already seen whatever. But I'm gonna go some of the stuff in college. Some of his attributes, man. He's his radius, his catch radius is pretty. For him, it's pretty good. Like he can catch contested passes too as well. But Terry does that the best. So I'm not putting him on Terry. I'm not putting Dyami on Terry level. But yeah, that's that speed, the deceptive speed to get deep. I mean, that's obvious, bro. Like, and you see it. The reason why it's obvious, and you see it because even when they take shots, he's open a lot of times. It's overthrown, underthrown. You see that he has the man beat. Like it's not a thing like he doesn't have a guy beat. So it's there. Like Paul said, speed. Like it's legit, and it's not speed. It's not just a guy being fast because you see guys run the 40, they're fast, but it's football fast. You know what I mean? Because you can see it on the field. It's football fast. Because when he goes on that route that everybody knows the 9 route that he's good at. When he goes for it, there is separation. So that he does that well. So I do think that that's obviously one. Secondly, just like Terry, so I'm gonna take Terry out of it. That's not fair. I'm gonna take Terry out of it, but I'm gonna compare it to everybody else. With the ball in his hand, man, he seems like he has this relentlessness to not go down. And then I'm gonna give Olamide's kids credit too. He's been that way the last few weeks too as well. But it's the relentlessness of not going down. And you add all together, it's just a combination of everything. Like we kind of already talked about it, Mo. The combination of everything. You can do it. You can put more in the toolbox with him. There's like more things that you can do. You can run the screen game with him. You can run the go route with him. You can run the end game, the end cut with him. It's just like you can take him for man beaters situation because of that speed. Like if it's 1-on-1, you can make him go deep and he can carry the safety if need be, because obviously that corner is going to have to respect his speed, right? And the safety's going to have to respect the speed. So you can have somebody shift over him over the top. There's so many things that you can. There's things you can do with him compared to the other receivers, non-Terry. So I just think that he brings that to the table. He opens up the offense more than the other dudes.
Mm-hmm. George.
That's it for me. Paul, I love what you said about you hope you see some deep shots to him early, because I think that's exactly what they ought to do, because you got to put that in Detroit's mind right away, that Jaden could just uncork one 50 yards down the field and try to open up the space for the running game, for some of the things T. Black's talking about. And I think that's what Dyami brings you, is a verifiable threat, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. We always talk about stretching the defense, taking the top off the defense. Well, you actually have to have somebody that can do it. Well, Dyami can do that. And they're going to respect it anyway. But I'm with Paul. I'd love to see that early in the game, just to, and if we hit them with it, great. But just to have them like backing off a little bit, because I think the other thing that Dyami brings you is on these wide receiver screens, he doesn't need a lot of space, and he gets positive yards. So if we can get him just a yard of space here or there, he could pop a big one on those too. So I think that's what Dyami brings to the table, and it's something that the other guys we've got at receiver just don't.
Do y'all agree with Taj just said? I like this one. She said, "Nah, if I'm the Lions, I'm playing 2 deep safety and daring the Commanders to run the ball, which will leave the middle of the field open. Tight end should be able to eat." Mo, do you agree with that? I would take away the run. I personally would just take away the run. That's what I would do.
They got to play zone.
Yeah.
They got to play zone.
If they do that, doesn't Jaden run for crazy yards?
Right.
Against
they have to play
like
zone
that?
Because Jaden's like they don't have any defensive line pressure. So they have to keep all eyes on him or be able to have defenders in spaces to deter Jaden from wanting to get there. They have to do that because Jaden starts popping out, and Zadarius Smith is the best D lineman they have.
Yeah, he is.
And he's been underperforming. He's not catching him over there. Nobody's running him down, right? They don't have a linebacker that's like to die for. Like Anzalone is there, I believe. And I think Campbell, the kid from Iowa, a couple years ago.
The kid from Iowa, right? Is that the one they like?
He's the middle, like so. It's they have to play zone. They have to play zone. The Commanders have to run the football, and they have to put pressure on Detroit to have to respect the run so that they can play action off of that and get the ball across the field.
Dude, Addy says that's what they have been doing is playing zone, and that's why they haven't been able to handle notable quarterbacks. Mobile QBs. So mobile.
Yeah,
sorry, mobile
Josh
QBs.
Allen was.
Excuse me.
Josh Allen ran through them. Whew.
So Jaden should have a field day.
Yeah, I will say this though, for their defense. I mean, to stick with, just slightly off topic, but like they don't do well. Like I agree, they don't do well with mobile QBs. Even Caleb, who's not even like the most, he's mobile, but not like what you would think like Jaden, not an elite runner like Jaden. He gave him problems running with the football. So they're not.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can make the argument that they haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks like Jaden throughout this year, other than like Josh Allen, like you mentioned. Like Josh Allen, obviously, is a dog MVP candidate. So I'm not taking that away from anything. But in terms of the quarterback play at a high level, I don't care what age you are, they haven't seen a lot of them.
They can't contain, bro.
Yeah.
They cannot contain. That's their biggest problem. Like that's why Aiden Hutchinson is so important.
Yep.
Like that's why Aiden Hutchinson is so important. First, it puts everybody in their proper position, right? And then his motor, his relentlessness, that kind of, that he plays the run on the way to the quarterback. You know what I mean? So he got hurt on a run play, like trying to make an tackle on a run play. Like the kid is a high motor. So like I've said all week to anybody that would listen to me, Detroit should be the favorite because of the way they played during the season, but like no one can say definitively that Detroit is going to spank the Commanders because their defense has to play also. Yes. And their defense is terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
Their defense is terrible. There is a lot of opportunity for Terry this week. There's a lot of opportunity for Jaden's legs, right? Can B-Rob show up to the party and whatever. If they get anything else in the run game. If they get anything else in the run game, this game is going to be close. It is going to be one of those shootouts, like where the pressure is going to sway one way or another. Is going to make one of the quarterbacks make a mistake.
Yeah.
And respectfully, although Jared Goff is the senior in this conversation, we haven't seen Jaden Daniels make that mistake yet.
Facts.
So.
Facts. And Glenn, you said you had a question earlier. I don't think you ever stated your question, did you?
No, my question is, we assuming Dyami's coming back. There's been a lot of receivers that's been out there. Tyreek Hill's name is thrown around. You got other T. Higgins will be thrown around, right? Guys who become free agents. is their name. Washington has $100 million to spend. Y'all shaking your head. All right.
Let me go first.
They got $100 million to spend, right?
Yeah. Go ahead,
Is Dyami auditioning for the other 31 football teams?
Is he? Yeah,
the question is he auditioning for the other teams?
Well, it's a 2-part question.
Is he or are we trying to get some of those?
Is he auditioning for the 31 football teams?
Of course.
And is Washington will get somebody else coming into next season?
He is absolutely auditioning. He is absolutely. This is his last opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that's why Dallas was so efficient. I think that's why last week he played with a physicality last week, right? He was like determined.
Yes.
Like it looked like a determined football player.
Has he done enough to stay on? Has he done enough to stay on the Commanders?
Yeah, he said to get a cheap deal. Yeah.
It depends on the deal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Has he done enough to get a deal from the Commanders when the season's over?
Yeah.
Surely.
Surely.
Yeah. Surely.
You're talking about because he's not the asking price isn't going to be.
It's not going to be high, and he has talent. He actually has talent.
Yeah, he's done enough. Like if you look at and it's real talk, Glenn. If you look at the tea leaves on like the talk, the chatter, that's where they're going to. That's the direction they're going to.
Yeah, that's the direction.
That's the direction they're going to.
I'll tell you why that's going to be the direction they're going to. Everybody wants them to bring in another receiver that's going to be over $25, $26 million. That caliber of receiver. I'll tell you the first problem in the way. People forget that next year is Terry's last year of his deal.
There you go.
That's last year. Terry just made All-Pro this year, second team.
Yeah.
That's a contract year essentially because Terry's not going to play next year without a contract.
Terry have a new contract before the season starts.
That's my point. So we keep talking about this $100 million. Terry's going to be a $30 million receiver.
So he's gonna take some of that. He's gonna take some of that.
So Terry's about to take a big chunk of that now. Like
and you're not gonna pay 2 receivers the same that type of money.
They're not going to bring in 2 receivers in the same offseason at close to $30 million a piece. That's not effective use of the money.
Yep.
Right? And then you got to sign guys back like Fowler. Bobby Wagner has to come back.
You got to sign Fowler back. I get you for you though. You don't have to.
You should sign.
He's 30-some years old. You don't have to sign Fowler.
I mean, I think well then you're going DN high in the draft then.
Yeah, you got to do. It depends. All right, so to your point. I mean, realistically speaking,
right?
He should be on your list of signing, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't have to break the bank like because of his age. If he asks out of a deal, if he asks out of like for instance, I think because Fowler had 10.5 sacks. So there is an opportunity for him to say, like, I'm worth more than this, right? There is an opportunity.
He's not worth more than like
I agree with you. You got people are. You got 10.5 sacks. You may think of yourself a certain way. I don't know. But there's an opportunity where he can say, I'm worth this amount of money.
There's a lot of evidence to say that he has one of these years every so years, and then he digresses right back again.
Mm-hmm. No,
right? I think a lot of people think that the money, like it's not enough money there to go get another premier wide receiver.
Yeah.
So that works in Dyami's favor. Right? He has talent.
Yeah.
Now that they've seen the talent and they've seen him display it on a big stage, the thinking can be, oh, he just wasn't being used right. And now that we know how to use him,
though. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, go ahead.
We can retain him. He's not gonna cost much. Right? I'm not saying you still don't make another move. There are receivers to be had in the draft, second and third round, whatever the case may be. Right? But that bodes well for him if necessary and whatnot, man. So I would bring him back.
Yeah, easily.
There's a relatively inexpensive receiver that could be available via trade, by the way.
And then he'd be a second year in the same system.
Yeah.
Him and Jaden have a better rapport. Like,
well, that's also, I mean, and be real with you, and like I'm with the Lux. We're not gonna stay on this off-season talk. We're not, buddy. I will say this though, like you got Luke McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a project. He's a guy that you say you like, you drafted. And real talk, and I said this before, and I really mean this. Though I would go for edge rusher in the draft because I think that's what they really need for real. But like receivers in the draft nowadays, receivers out of college are just so good. Like you could just draft a number. You can draft a receiver out of college. Like you don't really have to sign. You can just draft one. It's cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, well,
it's just cheaper.
Why go get a $30 million receiver?
Yeah, necessary. And I love and listen to me. Most point is too valid to ignore. Like that money, Terry's gonna like he's at least the last year in this deal, right? It's the last, not this year, but the upcoming year.
Next year is the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably gonna want I mean, he's all pro this year. He's gonna. I mean, if he had a smart agent, he should be holding out. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna probably try to ask for more money, which is fair. You gotta pay him.
You don't hold out. You go get the bag. They're gonna give you the bag.
Well, no, that's how
they're gonna give Terry the bag. Terry's gonna get the bag. Let's be honest. This organization is not gonna let Terry.
Well, they should. No, I'm just saying. Like, I'm not assuming nothing. Never assume. They should, like the way the organization is. You think that they are, but I'm just saying.
Right.
He's gonna try.
Remember,
the end of the deal. He's gonna that money at the end of the day, that money that's allocated, the $100 million, a lot of that chunk is gonna go to Terry. And you do not pay 2 receivers the same year. You just don't do that.
And then, right, like you have a lot of guys on 1-year contracts that are prominent parts of this team.
Bobby Wagner
back, right?
Bobby Wagner.
Next year, they're not going to be on a 1-year contract, so it's going to be a bigger chunks for each player, right? Yeah. So, and then this front office is not going to spend all of the $100 million.
Yeah, they're not going to.
They're not going to spend all of the 100, and that's why I keep telling people, I'm like, you gotta.
And then you got players, and to your point, Mo, you got players like Bobby Wagner, who is older, but he's too valuable.
He's too valuable.
You know what I mean? But he's too valuable. So you're gonna have to slightly overpay. You're gonna have to
slightly. He's at least $10 million if he played for $8 million
exactly.
Last year.
So those So like I'm like everybody else.
Years,
like
he's gonna guarantee him the money.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Tin is no longer going to be a $1 million player or $2 million player because he's regained his form.
Yeah.
He may not be a $15 million safety, but he's going to be like $8 to $9 million now. I mean, and
he's still relatively young. So so it may behoove you for real to re-sign Dyami because you got him for cheap.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got him for cheap.
Trade for Garrett Wilson.
And you still
that's too expensive. Same thing. It's too expensive.
Because then you're going to pay Garrett Wilson because he's coming up on the 4th year.
Yeah. That's money that you guys still got to get to him.
You got to allocate. And then nothing can touch the books in year 3 because that's the start of Jaden's negotiations for this $300 million.
There you go.
So
he is getting $300 million.
He's getting $300 million.
He is getting $300 million.
I mean, if they're getting some of these quarterbacks, what they're getting, I don't even want to try
and then you got
to imagine Jaden Daniels' extension number because it's like if somebody's really going to give Brock Purdy $60 million a year,
he ain't getting that.
The game's gone as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
good God.
Well, I'll say this though, before Washington, and we're about to go back into to the topic, but for Washington. It's for this money, they have to spread it out. Like, you know what I mean? They have to spread it out. It can't go one direction. That's it. It's got to be spread it out. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to take care of your weaknesses first before you worry about trying to get luxury picks.
And it's no longer cheap. It's
no
longer cheap.
Yeah, it's no longer cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all looking at, like, all the players that you're talking, folks have been throwing out there, Garrett Wilson, whatever, but we didn't talk about this team as one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. So you're going to have to fix that up. So that should be where you kind of target anyway. Is how do you fix that? And what players do you need to bring in to fix that? You know what I mean? Or, Jaden's going to be your high prize commodity. How do you fix to keep making sure he doesn't get hit? You got to fix that. You know what I mean?
Go ahead and start.
Remember, we may lose a big ticket item or trade a big ticket item like one of them 2 defensive tackles.
Just possibly.
Go ahead and start by increasing the salary cap number to 122 by cutting 94.
You ain't cutting, you got to trade him. You want to cut, you can trade. What's wrong with you?
That $22 million he been stealing.
Look, man, he's cutting it. He played when my man played well before he hurt his hand. He was out there putting it all on the line.
It's never well enough to get a sack, I tell you that.
I mean, as long as you create chaos, and I don't care. Like, as long as you look, man, there's dudes who get sacks who don't really put up, who won't create chaos. I'm cool with that. I've seen them
dudes. You can create
I've seen
chaos.
them dudes. I've seen them dudes. Yeah.
You can create chaos, and I can still complete the ball. But you know what you can't do. But you know what you can't do if I sack you.
So if I get Mo, if I get blocked, the entire game, but I get a coverage sack, does that count?
Listen, what I'm saying is,
I'm asking you. I'm just asking you about that. If I get pressure all game, and but I can't get you, I don't get at you, but the dude gets blocked all game, but gets a covered sack. A lot of times, he'll get a covered sack a game. Does that count?
Give me the guy that finishes the play. Because all I'm saying is pressure is just a pressure. It doesn't mean it wasn't a complete pass. It just means that you sped up the clock.
I hear you. I'm just telling you.
Just
There's
because you
dudes
speed
who've
up the
been
clock
blocked.
don't mean it's not a completion.
I'm just telling you. There's dudes
But
who've
I
been
know
blocked.
if you get a sack, Wole, I know if you get a sack, that means negative yardage
I
and
just
a loss
disagree.
of
I
down.
disagree. I just disagree.
Right, George? When you get a sack, it's
This
negative
debate
yardage.
needed to happen. By the way, this debate's been in the making for how many weeks? Finally happening. I love it.
I'm just saying. I agree. Look, I'm with you. All I'm saying is that I see. Look, I've seen a dude. I'm not gonna say any names about a particular defensive end, but I've seen a dude, a defensive end here, who used to get blocked religiously, and then all of a sudden he'll have a game or two where could get some cover sacks, and it would total up to 10 sacks and plus, and everybody used to gas it up. But when you need this individual the most, he ain't never get any pressure. And I used to watch the Davion Clowney where everybody used to like
that young man had a lot of pressures. You're underselling him. He had a lot of pressure.
No. I don't know if we're talking about the same person because you're saying a lot of pressure. I don't know if you're talking about the same person.
He had a lot of pressures.
I don't know if we're talking about the same person. I remember being in the media room. I remember being in the media room talking to many of the media colleagues, and we used to sit there and be like, "Yeah, can't hear his name today." Cover set, and then it'd be a game where the backup right tackle was out or left tackle was out. He go ham. Oh, good game. Got a backup. There you go. Then you cover set.
Terrible.
That's what I'm saying.
You are terrible.
Somebody look, Mo. If I didn't say it, I ain't even say a name. But somebody put a number out there though. So obviously somebody know who I'm talking about.
Hey, I ain't even over the can of worms. But I was just talking about Dyami being number 2. So I had to think that out there because they maybe try to bring somebody else in to be number 2. But
Dyami's a big.
So right here now.
I ain't saying names, bro. What y'all doing, man? I ain't saying
Dyami is a cheap option that has high upside. And I'm pretty sure they're going to feel like they can coach him up and continue to coach him up, right? And whatnot. They haven't had him for the whole time that he's been in the league. They just had him this year. And it takes figuring out on both ends, right? And Noah Brown came in and was decent. So, like, that spot and that availability wasn't as frequent. And then Noah Brown went down, and that's when we expected Dyami to step up. It took a little longer than most people wanted, but he flashed at the end of the year. And first playoff game, you can't say you win the game without him. So, let's give him some credit for that at the very least.
Oh, yeah, man.
No deserves credit. Go ahead, Glenn. I'm sorry.
Much credit to Dyami, man. There's no slight against him. I think he can be that guy. I think somebody said in the chat that Jaden Daniels trusts Dyami. I'm happy to see Dyami has a quarterback that will be there for a while and they can work together, right? And I mean, know him and Sam Howell worked together in college, but it's different on that pro level. It's totally different, especially when you had calling the plays anyway. So who you had calling the plays anyway. So, but you have an offensive coordinator who can scheme you open.
There you go.
You have an offensive coordinator that can get you and build around your strengths. If you look at what happened last week to Dyami, Cliff Kingsbury was giving him what he does best in his strengths, right? He was giving him the ball, and Dyami didn't shy away from it. So again, for this week, for this Sunday night, I'm going to say he could be he will probably be the number 2 guy receiver, but that does not mean he will have the most catches.
No, he won't have the most. No, that's
right.
Or
the second guy most catches, because guess what? You have another guy who's back, Austin Eckler, and he's just getting another game on his belt. And so you'll see him more in the passing game. We saw more Zach Ertz in the passing game. So again, Jaden has been able to throw the ball around. And I know we're talking about number 2 receiver. Do you really have to have a number 2?
Oh, to win in the NFL?
To win in the NFL.
Yes.
Do you really have to have a number 2 to win in the NFL?
I mean, unless you like Patrick Mahomes.
But he has a team full of number 2s.
But that was my thing, though. He didn't have number 2 last year.
Yeah, I'm saying unless you got Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, who's the number 1? Who's the number 1 of Kansas City?
The number 1 target.
The number 1's not a wide receiver.
Well, this year he has actually make the argument. This year, though they were hurt, now they're healthy. He probably has a better core receivers he's had in a long time. And Hollywood and Hopkins.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I mean, he didn't have them. He
didn't
have them most of the year.
Yes, Hopkins. Yeah, Hopkins and Hollywood. Yeah, those two.
But you had Xavier Worthy.
But he's a slot. He's a gimmick guy. He's a slot in
Worthy?
Gimmick guy.
Worthy's a gimmick guy.
I'm with Mo on
He's
that.
all speed though. Worthy's a gimmick guy, but he still makes some dangerous because you have it's a more versatile wide receiving core.
Marquise Hollywood Brown coming back just puts everybody in their proper.
It does, man. That makes him,
because D-Hop is the possession guy. Marquise can make a play after with his speed, whether he catches it or he's yak yardage or he's deep down the field. And then that makes Xavier Worthy even more lethal because now he's running across the field on linebackers and under safeties, and then them safeties are still worried about Kelsey in the middle.
Yeah, I hate this Scott Turner. I know that. I don't do Scott Turner talk.
No, we didn't like him.
Why'd you make me mention his name? I try not to say
the guy that
replaced
him didn't do so hot
Who
either.
Made you say his name?
Who made me? Why'd you make me say his name? It's like
I didn't say his name.
Oh my goodness. Do you not remember COVID?
Don't be mention that dude to me, man.
Come on, T Black.
I will say like the most good teams drafted number 2. I agree with that.
That's true.
I'll say this though for Dyami. Dyami should be very, very thankful obviously to Jaden. That's like number one. Terry and Dyami and all the receivers on this team should be thankful for Jaden. But especially the dudes who have been here before Jaden was here. Like so Terry and Dyami should be very happy for Jaden. But Cliff Kingsbury, man, for real. Like I think, truth be told, like it's essential. I think it's for Dyami's development here in DC. It's essential for this dude to stay. You know what I'm saying? Because to what Glen says, like he's willing. He sees something in Dyami. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Obviously, to a point where they got rid of the dude that they drafted the first pick, their first rounder this season. You know what I mean? They got rid of. They traded him to Philly. So there's something that he saw in Dyami. For him to like say, you know what? Because a lot of times, folks. We're here now, but a lot of people going into the season thought Dyami was getting cut. Like that was talk. He wasn't making the team.
I raised my hand.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So it lets you know like the value. And every time Cliff talked about Dyami, he talked about him in a glowing way. So it's obviously like Cliff believes in Dyami Brown. So. Like I think Cliff deserves a lot of credit. He gets some flack about some people get annoyed with some of his play calling, this, that, and the other. But I think in terms of Dyami's development and just there's Mo. You've been around sports. Everybody's been around sports. Like just the element of to bring belief into somebody does a lot for an individual and an athlete. And Glenn, you coach, it. And I think that's what Cliff has done for Dyami. It's like because you come into this league. And you got all the accolades in college. In college, you getting 1,000 yards almost every year, as a receiver in North Carolina. You think you're gonna blow? You think you're gonna kill the NFL by storm? You got St. Brown. I'm gonna say Brown always talking trash about you about why he was picked ahead, why you was picked ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? You hear this type of stuff. So it knocks down your confidence. All that type of, and you never put up numbers. Then you hear the fans saying you a bum, this, that, and the other. Then you hear people say you're gonna get cut, this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? Because this new generation kids, they listen to all this stuff. So then you got a coach who believes in you. Say, nah, man. Like we value you. We're gonna use you in the offense. You know what I'm saying? And then you bust your butt in camp, and it shows. And that coach wants to reward you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I give credit to Cliff for his development from when we saw the offseason, even though some people were like kind of not like. Say, well, Dyami ain't doing nothing, he ain't doing nothing, and then to this point now in the postseason, where he's kind of had a good look, had a good game when they needed him. I think Cliff deserves a lot of credit. Oh, I like this one, Paul. Yeah, Christian Kirk, like how Cliff used Christian Kirk. Yeah,
okay,
I can see that.
That's a good one.
I can see that. Both speedsters come up. Christian Kirk was a deep threat coming out of college. I can see that.
But they're tough though, and tough.
Yeah, Christian Kirk.
More so than the speed, just tough. Like, Dyami's fast. He's not like too fast, though.
He's 4'4". He's 4'4". He's 4'4". Yeah. And I call it NFL speed, like game speed. His game speed is like that. But go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
He can play. And his game speed is a little bit, he ain't getting caught, I tell you that. So,
yeah. That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
What was the question?
No, I thought you said something. I thought you had something to say. I'm about to close the show off.
No, that was
I'm about to close the show. You got nothing to say.
Take us home, man. Take us home.
Indiana Lake, Ohio said Adam Peters will probably want to bring some of those 49 free agents to Washington, especially on defense.
Ayuk, I'm just joking.
No, I'm
just joking. That ship has sailed. But and I say that because we was talking about Ayuk all summer. We talked about a couple shows.
I ain't want him.
I didn't want him neither. It was just conversation. So
I said it then. I said that you can't bring nobody that costs more than Terry to Washington.
Exactly. And see, and
truth
be told,
forget the match. Just who Terry is. Period. Like nobody can come here and be better than Terry. Terry has to be
and to be real, Mo, you're 100% correct. Even how it played out, and not because of the injury, because I think you don't get a cohesive environment if Ayuka's here.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I agree.
I totally agree with that. You know what I'm saying?
And like this team has been thriving all year. Like just improve it slightly. It doesn't have to be large makeovers. You know what I mean? Like keep the house as close to the same as it is, and keep going.
But one thing about this team, you want somebody that fit. You don't need a prima donna because everybody on this team right now is unselfish, and they're willing to do that. So you bring a number 2 in that's selfish, it may destroy the whole chemistry.
You're gonna mess up.
The thing about that is
Terry already not getting a lot of targets. So imagine, and that's why they keep talking about these number 2. I'm like, who's gonna spread the ball around?
Paul said, "Forgive me, I did, but Terry proved me wrong, and I'm glad." Yeah, facts.
Right.
Facts. Hey, Paul, I appreciate that, man. People don't admit their faults, man. I appreciate that, man. Ayuka's overrated. Not saying he's not a really good player. His name has more weight than his play. I like Ayuk. It's not that I dislike. I think people thought I was hating on Ayuk. I just didn't think that to what Mo's point is. I agree with Mo saying, like, you can't. One, he's gonna come in here thinking he's the number 1.
Right. And you already have a personal relationship with the quarterback.
Yeah, and then Terry now, and you're looking at Terry, and you gotta look at Terry. He gonna look at it a certain way too. Like, Terry gonna probably look at, dude, you ain't better than me. And secondly, you ain't better than me. And then secondly, real talk, because you got a personal relationship with the quarterback, if it seems like you favor him more than me, and I'm open, I'm gonna be like, it's natural. I'm sorry, it's natural.
Terry's not the kind of guy that's going to publicly demonstrate about that. He'll handle it behind the scenes.
Publicly, but it'll be in the locker room. You'll hear it. He would it'd be addressed.
It's gonna come out eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Terry's a spirited guy, man.
Yeah, he's a spirited dude.
He's a spirited guy, man. Terry competitive, man.
Yeah. He understands Jaden's growth. So because he likes Jaden, he's not gonna like disrespect Jaden. But I'm talking about if it seems like he's not getting touched, like he said it in games, like you just don't hear it often. He says, like, I want the ball. It's the same thing. It's just said a different way. He's like basically saying, like, I need the ball.
Yeah, you know he doesn't need to berate anybody to do so, but like he gets his message across.
Yeah, he gets the message across. It's just not done like what you see on TV with other receivers. It
shouldn't have to be though.
Yeah.
I think that's so lame.
Yeah,
I agree. That's so lame.
I agree.
When everything was smooth, everything is good. Then now you reading textbooks in the middle of the playoff game, like indicating that you're bored, like and trying to play it off like we don't know what it means. Like, oh, my quarterback's not throwing me the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Man, shut up. Your quarterback has 16 pass attempts all game.
There you go.
Why you need to throw the ball when you got the other guy in the backfield? But that's not the podcast.
Hello.
I like this. I think Terry is an elite football player that happens to play wide receiver. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's pretty accurate, Indian River.
I agree with that. I do. Right. That's how I view Terry. But yeah, this has been a dope show, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all stay lit, man.
Yeah.
Y'all lit on a freaking Thursday night at about 10:30. Y'all know what time it is. But hey, don't forget to tune into our Commanders Lions NFC Divisional Round pregame show Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got Candy Waller from Bowie TV, the Washington Commanders reporter herself. She be live from Detroit. She in Detroit, so that's what's up, man. The home of BMF. That's what I call it. You know what I'm saying?
Motown, man.
Motown Records.
Motown, that too.
You know what generation you are.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, I love Motown. I grew up on them. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, because I ain't have, like, that's my fam.
Hey, that's
Motown,
what I'm talking about, T-Black.
Smokey, I'm in all of that. I am, actually. He said 8 Mile. He said after 8 Mile. Chill out, man.
That's right. 8 Mile's can be turned into Sesame Street.
Oh, man. You know what I mean? So, but what did Paul say?
7:30.
Hey, we going to SoFi or the link. I hope, bro. I hope, man.
I don't see how the Rams win that game, honestly.
I mean, I don't doubt Sean McVay. I won't doubt Sean McVay.
He's a great coach.
He is, man.
He
He's
is,
a
but
great coach.
they got to be
care what you put out
emotionally and
there.
physically out of gas
Because
after
they got
last
the
week.
same. I'm with you, right? Like, right, Mo? Like, you don't care what you put out. He motivates them dudes to play hard.
He
man.
gets them
He's
to
ready to
play.
play hard.
He schemes them guys. Like, look
Yeah,
at
he
Puka
do.
Nakua.
Hey,
What?
Hey, Paul, be safe out there. 7:30 in LAX, and Paul say, "Look, it's 7:30. We talking about 10:30." Paul said, "Look, I'm 3 hours behind you. I'm
7:30.
chilling
Where he at?
in Cali, in LA."
Oh, no, he ain't in Cali. He joking. He ain't in Cali. Paul ain't definitely no, when them fires. He ain't no Cali. Hey, prayers out to y'all too out there too, and folks in
Yes.
LA, man. Prayers out to y'all. Real talk. Deluxe is still trying to catch up on sleep. Yeah, I know, man. I just got my voice back, man. Got 27 minutes Sunday. Dang, bro. Was an early flight out of Tampa. Oh, you was at Tampa. Oh, dang, you were there. You were at Tampa. That makes sense.
See, Paul saying,
Oh, you in LA for real? Oh,
Yeah,
my
he
bad,
said
Paul.
earlier.
Oh,
Tell
my
him
bad. Hey,
no doubt.
Paul, I apologize. Dang, bro. Hey, were you safe, bro? Shoot. Them fires, you tripping. Dang. All right, well.
See, all LA ain't on fire though. All LA ain't on fire.
Yeah, it looked like it from
It's just the coast. Just the coast.
From the vids, man. I'd be looking at. I think all this. I was like, geez.
It's a
That's what the media
significant
wants to see.
portion,
That's
though.
what
At one point, it was like 15,000 acres. I got
Right?
burned down.
I know, man. It's crazy, bro.
Hey, well, it's a whole different thing. Slap in the face by the government. Give you $700. But that's not that's not this podcast. Sorry.
It's all good now.
Hey, Glenn, I seen some pictures afterwards, and I was like, "How is this so clean of a fire?" But
We'll talk afterwards.
Hey, we'll be on again on the pregame show. We'll be on YouTube and IG Live. We'll also be streaming on the Urban Sports X handle. You can also subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Everything. Also tweet us at ABG_everything. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_everything. Hit right now, since y'all on here and y'all attentive, hit the like button. All of y'all, just hit the like button right now at the same time. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for doing it. All right, man. Thanks for chiming in. We got, come on, man. Saturday, man. Saturday can't get here fast enough, man. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene at Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. Yedig deuces. We are out.